Hello everyone and welcome back to Genesis Designs and Modelcraft. I'm here with my coffee and my Yeti and I have a little inbox review for you today. So without further ado, let me introduce to you the Key 868 Cypress World War II Japan training aircraft. So this is an ICM 132nd kit, and followers of the channel will know I'm a big fan of ICM kits in general, but actually really enjoy their 32nd scale sort of biplane and strange early World War II aeroplane series. And the only one that I previously didn't already have or have already built is the Jungmann, or in this case a Cypress. So this, as you can probably see from the box art, is literally a Japanese version of the Booker 131 Jungmann, which is also available in Jungmann form from ICM. But the kicker with this is, firstly, the camo. And secondly, the price. So I've been thinking, the Jungmann was the last sort of link in the chain of all of them. I don't have both Gladiator kits, but I've got one of them, and we'll review that at some point. I've got the one in the Revel box. And I've been looking out for this one, and the closest I got to buying one so far was in that triple set, which would have left me with another Stearman and a third Tiger Moth. So possibly not really the right way to go about getting a Jungmann. And then I saw modelsforsale.com. As you all know, Vince is a very good friend of mine, and he does support the channel. Anyway, yes, I saw it. It popped up on his site. He'd got a few of them in. And here's the price. Yeah, really. £21.59. We'll probably come back to that later. So anyway, let's have a look in the box. Typical ICM stuff. You take off the colourful lid, which is quite tight. It's also very flimsy, which makes it quite hard to get off. And underneath is your standard sturdy flip top Ukrainian box of delights. Here we go. One bag of plastic parts, and there's our instructions. These flip top boxes, and I know this is not the Genesis Designs and Boxcraft channel, but it's worthy of note, I think, when they're good. The flip top boxes are so useful. So I've been away from home for a couple of weeks. That's why there's been yet another short pause in proceedings, on a promotion course up at Cosford, and in a room in the mess. So I thought, I'm going to take my little Landaway modelling toolkit and a kit or two to fiddle with while I'm up there. And I actually took a Zvezda Hercules with me, but it's the same sort of box, and it's so useful just to be able to have the box there with the lid open and just things in and out. I digress. Anyway, here we go. Let's have a look. I've not really had a look at this yet. So, live unboxing reaction. Let's separate these out. So here's Sprue 8, and it's absolutely typical ICM stuff. Anybody who's seen my other reviews of the kits from this series, or indeed has seen them for themselves, will know that the moulding, it's really fine and yet quite chunky, but somehow it works. When I say chunky, I mean things like, if you look at this raised detail here behind the cockpit aperture, it's kind of overdone, but it's overdone in such a sharp and crisp way that it sort of works. It doesn't look awful, it doesn't detract. The whole thing has a sort of a chunky finesse about it that I really enjoy. And I realise that those two words should be mutually exclusive, but with this series of kit, ICM have just hit on a formula that I think for these types of aircraft in this larger scale, it just works. There's not really any internal detail on the fuselage halves there, but there probably shouldn't. There's probably going to be a framework we build up the interior. But yeah, quite a simple breakdown, as you can see. Not that many parts, and everything is beautifully moulded. The fabric effect, there's There's enough of it to be seen, but it just isn't overdone. There's no stupid rib tapes that you would trip over. It's just right, I feel. There's a strange... just here. See, there's a weird lump there that I'll need sanding out. The other wing's got one as well here, and they coincide. They're right next to these ejector pin marks on the inside, so that's a little flaw in the mould there, but that will sand out quite easily, or you can just ignore it. Choice is yours. So that's sprue A. Sprue B then. Oh, what have I just knocked over? My hammer. Yes, I do have a hammer in the modelling room. It's just a tiny one that I use for my punching out circles tool. So here's sprue B, and clearly this is where it's all going on, and here's more of that weirdly chunky but fine detail. Lots of struttage. It's that internal framework that was rumoured earlier. Excuse me. So you do get an engine here. It's this cute little 4-cylinder here, and it's very nicely done. No, it probably isn't detailed enough to really be worthy of being shown off as it comes. That is always a personal choice, obviously, but the basics are there, and it would be quite easy to improve upon that with a bit of wiring and pipe work, because it is a simple aircraft, so the wiring and pipe work's quite simple too. You've got your lower wing, I think that is, full span. Actually, that's probably the bottom of the top wing, thinking about it. Lots of various cowling panels. I suspect there's a few options. A propeller here, all the struts, very nicely done nose cowl, couple of seats, and obviously 2-part wheels. So you've got a B sprue here, and then you've got B1 and B2 this side, each side of it. It's all really it's just lovely. There's nothing spectacular about it, but it's just super competent, which has an appeal all of its own, I think. Final sprue here, D1, and as you can see, it's a set of cowls, some different wheel halves, and a slightly different cowl arrangement with a different exhaust arrangement too, exiting through the cowl. Transparencies wise, there's not a lot going on, as you can imagine. A couple of windscreens and a couple of panels. Quite a lot of distortion in these windscreens. The panels are quite simple, but still, it's nice to have them in clear. I don't know if that distortion's going to show, but it is there. Clear panel saves you glossing your instrument faces, but it also causes you to have to be careful when you paint the thing in the first place, so it's a double-edged sword really. And then instructions. So we've got a replication of the box art there. A little bit of info there. Nippon Kokusai Key 86 Army Type 4 Cypress. Japanese production version of the Booker 131. Powered by a Hitachi HA47 engine. Now whether the engine in the kit actually represents the Hitachi or the original German version, I don't know. You've got colour call-outs down here. You've got Revel, weirdly, and Tamiya options, along with a bit of nomenclature right at the bottom there. Here we have an advert for ICM acrylics, complete with a colour chart. Have a look at the decals in a minute. Parts map showing parts not for use. So some of the top decking, some of the cowling and wheel parts And here you go. The construction is just as simple as you might expect. So I won't belabour going through the instructions too much. Keep this short and sweet. Building up that engine as the framework for the internal areas. Also built up onto the top of the bottom wing. And interestingly, the seats are not fitted at the point when the fuselage halves and even the wing comes together. So on this one we are going to use that different front cowling and the different exhaust arrangement that was on that little tiny sub sprue. So struts going in. The attachment points for the struts are quite nice. They're relatively large, which makes things a lot easier. The pin type attachments are, you know, generally speaking a bit more in scale, but they're so much more vulnerable and difficult to do. Using the different wheel type here, again on that sub sprue. Just add in all these final few parts. Then we have a rigging diagram. So here's your sort of CAD shaded, this is the finished thing, and then you need to add rigging as shown here in red. It is not terrifically complicated actually, and you can just use the sort of elastic stretchy thread and it's really quite easy to do. So colour schemes then. Green with a yellow underside, standard Japanese national markings. This one from Malaya in 1945. Then you have one that's just green, all over green, and they're recommending XF13 for that, which I don't have. That does have a white tail band, a little cherry blossom and a bit of script on it. Then a sort of a more, dare I say it, standard Japanese trainer scheme. So you've got the sort of propeller brown nose cowling assemblies, the overall orangey yellow colour, black struts, very attractive actually. But without any doubt at all, in my mind, for me, it's got to be this one. This is the trainer orange, but then with this two-tone green camouflage applied over the top of it. You've still got your standard markings, a nice bright yellow band and some script and a cherry blossom, also some big numerals on the front. It's got the lot. Is that the same? No, it's not the same script as that one. It's just an utterly bonkers scheme, which, wow, what an eye catcher that's going to be, really. Quite an easy build, nice exciting camo scheme, love it. So decals wise, it's just a small sheet. Here we are. Nothing really to say about that. ICM decals are very, very good. Don't be worried by the fact that it just says ICM on there. All the kits I've built, 2 or 3 of these big 30-second scale jobs now, and the decals are absolutely amazing. They're incredibly thin, but they're not horribly fragile or really difficult to use. Quite often very thin decals are really sort of prone to curling up or under, and it makes them very, very awkward to use. These are not, in my experience. They're very, very, very good, but clearly there's not much need for a big sheet here. National markings and just those odd bits and pieces. You do have instrument panel dials, which are quite nicely done actually. So there you go then, just a very quick look at just another one of these lovely ICM 30-second scale biplane kits. They really are glorious and they're wonderful to build as well. I have built 2 of these now. I've done the CR42 and the I-16, although admittedly that is a monoplane, but still they fit together beautifully, and I feel that this is just a really nice size actually for a kit. they're nice. They're a nice size. They're big enough without being too big. If I just bring in, this is a 48 scale swordfish that I've been tinkering with, as a size comparison, you can see this 32nd scale trainer isn't significantly bigger actually. It's quite a similar size, so it's a really nice size. You can get a good bit of detail in there without it being too fiddly, and the extra size makes the sort of biplane aspect of the build a bit easier too, in my opinion anyway. So yeah, it's a really lovely little kit all in, and I think possibly the biggest talking point here is the price. £21.59 is seemingly absurdly cheap in this day and age. The prices of our kits are just steadily going up and up and up, and I'm not even sure it's steady. This is a bargain. There's no two ways about it. This is a great price. This is cheaper than an Airfix 48 scale tiger moth. And here you go. Here it is on the site. It says here the RRP is $46.99. So this is over 50% off. He does currently have 5 more of these in stock, plus various of the other ICM 30-second kits. So jump on there. That's modelsforsale.com. There you go. Just type Cypress in the search box, Cypress with 2 S's in the search box up here top right, or you can use the manufacturer's drop down here and just select ICM and then 32nd scale aircraft, and find it really quickly and easily. Currently has 5 left in stock, so jump on and get one quick before they're gone is my advice. Even if you don't want to build a Cypress, if you want to build a Jungmann, the markings on the German versions are really simple and easy to recreate with masts, or just find random decals kicking about. So yeah, top price. He's a top trader, is Vince. He'll look after you, and these are beautiful kits, so I very heartily recommend this one to you. So thanks very much for watching and getting to the end. If you did, thank you very, very much, all of you, for all of your support. I appreciate it more than I can really express. And with all of that said, it only remains for me to say, look after yourself, look after each other, and Genesis out.